Hey, so I have not checked the audio before. I haven't done an audio test, so I hope that this sounds all right. I went to the store today and I forgot to get a battery for the other mic, and I went set this up to go live, and and it brought up this headset. I was like, it's not even plugged in, but the USB dongle is still plugged in. So anyway, take the plastic out of my mouth. Um, yeah, sure. Well, I do this every single time. Why don't I do this before I start the live? Because I'm always like, oh, it's fine. It'll be fine. It doesn't matter. At this point, I should just take the shade off. So I was gonna be like, but you didn't expect to see me this late. But the only way you wouldn't be expecting me at this time is if you've never seen me before. So can't say that. But I will be using the Wild Unknown Alchemy for whatever reason. I feel like I was pulled to this deck for some reason earlier today that I completely forgot. Life is moving, things are happening. I don't know if it's Pluto retrograde. I don't know what transits happened in the past like week. I guess we've had over the weekend was that new moon Taurus. Pluto did retrograde. Mercury's ending or finishing its post shadow. It's not like things aren't happening astrologically. Things are literally always happening astrologically. But I don't know. It's like everything is starting to happen kind of sort of all at once. Um, and yeah, there are going to be some changes. Um, I went to bed at like 6 o'clock in the morning this morning. I start work next week and I'm supposed to be there by 7. So I should be asleep right now. But I'm not. We'll see. I don't even know how many of these I'm going to pull. I just saw Pluto. Oh, Pluto is still there. Um, everything, again, it's like on so many different fronts in my life, things are starting to move. Um, I was talking to the card shop owner today. I didn't say anything. I was talking to the card shop owner today, and for some reason, as I was looking at him, I remembered a dream that I had a long time ago, like literally when I was in elementary school. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, you look like the dude from that dream I had, like literally like over 2 decades ago. The drowned cane Rex Marinus. We'll see. We'll just see what comes out. I guess I'll be a little more settled here shortly. And I feel like there's part of me that's just like, I don't know what's happening. I'm going to go with it. There's a part of me that's like, I know exactly well, there are some things I know it's like why they're happening because I asked for them. There are other things that um, are unfolding in mysterious ways. Like there's developments happening that I'm not fully aware of, like where they lead to, but then I'll have some super chance opportunity that's like if I wasn't right here at this exact moment, this like would not have happened. Related to things that I've been sort of concerned about, but not really. Like I've asked questions and it's like, don't worry about it, so I won't worry about it. And it's not like kind of sort of how I got my last job where it was like all I got to do is like take care of the thing that's right in front of me right now. Like it's not like I'm starting today. It's not like anything is happening right at this second. So I can use that if I need to breathe through just being open and being receptive. Now, when everything actually starts to happen, everything will be fine because again, it's all working out so seamlessly and harmoniously and beautifully. Kata Pavanis. This card used to come out all the time, the Peacock's Tail. With the ether, I actually love that. Anyway, I mean, I can be as cryptic and mysterious as I want. Here pretty soon you're gonna you're gonna see a wall that's not blue. So I there's a very, very high likelihood that I'll be moving within the next few weeks. Turns out that one of my new neighbors is going to be the card shop owner that I've become friends with. The same, so like I was talking about in what the second pass of my Saturn return or whatever last year when like I started to meet people and I started to have different experiences that was like you don't have to leave home to experience community or to make friends that are into whatever. Like you don't have to leave home for that. And so like I went to the card shop today and I was talking to him and then I got a phone call and I was in the middle of talking about one of my dreams that I had. And I was like, "Hold up." And then I took the phone call and he was like, I found out that, my application got approved and they gave me a date and they told me like all the details. Speaking of, I need to go into the portal and see if I can't find the lease because I just assumed it'd be emailed to me. Um, and he was like, "Hey, like," he was like, "Did you just like, are you moving into an apartment?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Where?" And like, "How much, if you don't mind me asking?" And I told him where and how much. He was like, "Oh, like we're gonna be neighbors." I was like, "What? Oh my gosh, imagine that!" Literally after he was like, I don't know. And there were other things that I was worried about. Like I said, not necessarily worried because I just had the thought. I was like, I feel like I'm doing stuff in an order that isn't necessarily entirely logical. Like, no one is forcing me out. So I could save more. Well, I could theoretically save more by staying at home and actually saving money. But the last time I did that, I didn't actually save any 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 money. um, but I was like, there are a few other things that I feel like I should do before I like move, but everything again, like it's moving so fast. It doesn't feel like as fast as everything is starting to like coalesce and come together. There's Ether the Void at the bottom again. This card actually started at the bottom of the deck. Um, oh, but this time it's with the Sun Splendor. Okay. Anyway, and again, it was a chance encounter. I've been like working out for 2.5 months now. Saw somebody I've never seen, and they're like basically like, well, hey, let me do this for you. And I'm like, what? I almost like high key, I almost legitimately just like started crying and tearing up because everything is working. It's all unfolding again. And maybe that's been something that the past like 2 years, year and a half has gifted me. It's an ability to trust in my knowing while doing the things that I know I need to do. Um, because again, like things just sort of work out and resolve themselves. So that'll be interesting. We'll see. But anyway, enough about. I'll pull myself an alchemy card and then I'll do one for everyone else. Thank you. I appreciate it. I've already like downed an entire bottle of Camelot mead, and I only have two left before. They're not that big though. They're like 750 mils. I'm like, that's barely three mugs. Um, yeah, it's just like, wow, this is really happening. Oh, look, there's the void at the bottom of the deck again. Should I just take it with Chiron? This makes me think of when I asked that question. I do love Oracle Juice. Of what is a healed Chiron and how does a healed Chiron appear in the chart? Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Things are just like moving all over. Um, it's also apparently a season of revelations. And I don't personally have anything. The uncreated. I don't think I've ever seen this card. Chiron and the uncreated. Um, yeah, apparently it's the season of revelations, girl. I guess in quite a few ways. I don't know. The world is getting interesting. Is it because no? Is it because Jupiter is transiting Taurus and squaring Pluto, retrograding Aquarius? Is it because Jupiter is about to conjunct the North Node? I remember one time though, I was thinking about South Node Scorpio, North Node Taurus, and it did almost kind of feel like North Node Taurus would hit towards the end of its transit. Like depending on how we, hey David, how you doing? Depending on how we navigated South Node Scorpio in that axis window as Taurus shifts out, or as the node shifts out of Taurus and into Aries, like then returns would start to be had on that. Because at first it was just like everything just feels scorpionic. Like, where's Taurus? Where's the sensuality? Where's the pleasure? Where's the good stuff? Um, and I guess if the node is gonna conjunct Jupiter on its way out, then yeah, it would make sense that towards the end or at the end of the transit, basically, everything is just like, here you go. All right, for Patrick, we'll get two. Why not? Oh, and then since I've been talking about me so much, and then I'll just pull collective ones. I guess I really do need to go to bed. I was training my body for nights, and then maybe I wonder if this is a lesson for me. There'll be something, and I say that because this is at least the second time in my awareness that it's happening. I had to meet a lady today to verify my that I'm eligible to work in the U.S. Apparently, a lot of people, some people at the very least, outsource it now rather than having the few HR people that they have or less the dwindled HR staffs do it. Um, and she had to commute to meet me, and we set up a time and a location, and I almost thought to ask her if she was in a different time zone, But I was like, "No, it's fine." Like, she would've whatever or, like, whatever. Like, she'll let me know tomorrow. It doesn't really matter because I don't plan on doing anything or being anywhere. And then she texted me. She was like, "Hey," today, she was like, "Hey, I didn't realize that, you're on a completely different time zone." Um, she was literally, like, gonna be here 15 minutes early, but it's fine. Like I said, I wasn't really doing anything, but I had the thought anyway. I've been training my body for nights because I'm gonna be working nights. I've been doing it for a few weeks, like semi training it, not like going full throttle, but like pushing my body to stay up later so I can fully transition as I get closer. Then, like last week, I had the thought, like, wait, I'll probably be training on days. So I sent the email and I was like, hey, so like after I got offered the position, I was like, "Hey, like, I have one last question. Like, what's training gonna be like as far as like when it's gonna be happening?" And they're like, "Oh, you'll train on days for however long you'll be on days." And I was like, "Okay, thank you." Good thing I asked before I like fully transition my sleep schedule to be like, "Oh, you're supposed to be coming in right now, not going to bed." Oh, very true. I guess that's a lot of what came out yesterday with that Four of Wands energy in the coffin. That's also part of like the offerings and the gifts. I guess there's autumn. That's harvest season. Autumn and Masa Confusa. Chaos. I was just talking about chaos earlier today. Um anyway. All right. Runes for Patrick. Runes, not runes. Um Archetypes for Patrick. Please. I'll give it three more, and then I'll pick the one on the top and the bottom. That's one. Oh, oh, oh gosh. Oh, goodness. A whole bunch almost fell on the floor. I panicked. Too. Oh, could you see the panic on my face? That's like 10 cards. Almost took the leap. All right, and this is the third one. Aurum Gold at the top of the deck, and at the bottom, Mortificatio? Mortification. Oh. This is number LXVIII 68. 68 and 26. Excuse me. Matthew. This yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. I was literally just thinking of you because synchronicities have been also like kind of low key wild lately. Of course, because why wouldn't they be? Um, but one of my buddies sent me a reel of the Andy Milanakis show intro. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just got whiplash. Or I was like, I got vertigo from that throwback. Um, and he was like, I forgot the show existed. And I was like, me too. But every now and then, like Bengay will pop into my mind where he's like, Bengay, it hurts so good. It hurts so good. So I look up the clip because he was like, what are you talking about? To send it to him. And it's like titled, like, What's at the End of the Rainbow? And you got me the End of the Rainbow Tarot. So I thought of you. Um, I'm pretty sure that's the title. Almost pulled it. Yeah, What's at the End of the Rainbow? And as Andy Milanaka saw the rainbow and started running towards the rainbow, somebody else sent me a notification with three of the running man emojis, as like in the video he started running towards the end of the rainbow. And I was like, okay. But anyway, that's what brought you to mind. I was like, I should grab the end of the rainbow tarot. But it's like over there. Pretty soon I'll have more space. So, but yeah, why? Two, two. I'm not gonna look face down. These are the two that I asked for. I just like, and I felt the gloss. I'm like, when did that even happen? It's fine. We'll see. Um, yeah, I'll have more space, so I'll get to. But yes, I think I stayed up one night. I forget why I pulled an all nighter, and I was like, I am not as young as I used to be. Because I used to work all nighters like all the time back in school, all the time. I was like, oh, I'm a night owl. I stay up anyway. The last time I did it, I'm like, oof, I'm getting old because that 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock wall, it hit different. It hit different than it used to, but I'll be joining you on the night shift. Excuse me. And it's just like, so I think I told y'all that, yeah, I'm pretty sure I told y'all that I got to see my brother. That are one of, I got to see a lot of family that I haven't seen in a long time over the weekend. And like my brother and my cousin both reached out to me today. And it's like, again, it's like things are moving, things are happening. That thorn was no joke, but the giant thorny portal. But out of the other side of it, it's like, here's the life that you've wanted to live this whole time. That you were too chicken poop to do whatever. Anyway, Aurum, gold. I'm going to take the left one face down to clarify gold and the right one face down to clarify mortifactio. What number did I say this is? Number 26. And I do probably should really make this relatively short because I will lose the sleepy if my second wind hits. Aurum, gold. Illuminator. I mean, illumination, splendor, and the sun splendor came out with the void. Illumination, splendor, and culmination. The alchemist's gold is no ordinary gold. It is not found in rings or coins or necklaces. It is a substance buried deep within, sometimes referred to as gold of the wise, philosophic gold, the ethereal stone, or the divine quintessence, among countless other names. For our purposes, we seek not the physical metal, but the mystical essence within each alchemist. How do we recognize it? It mimics qualities of the metal itself, soft and radiant, and its planetary counterpart, the sun's splendor. Oh my gosh. I just completely threw all that. There we go. The sun, warm and bright. So I'll read that again. It mimics qualities of the metal itself, soft and radiant, and its planetary counterpart, the sun, warm and bright. It's no wonder gold is associated with the heart. When this card arrives, there is something of incredible value at hand. It is marvelous and rare. Excuse me. Cherish it, get to know its properties and its source. The gold card carries a distinct shadow. If mistaken for a purely physical material, it can lead to greed and excess, causing the alchemists to lose their way. Reverence is the key. I feel like this is like, sorry if you could. I feel like that was like brushing up against my face. It says your gold may be entirely different from someone else's. It is important for the alchemists to respect their own unique journey toward a righteous and resplendent goal. See, that's what I was talking about when it was like that comparison is the thief of joy kind of sort of low key hit me a little bit when I was like, wow, like Should I have navigated my path differently? Should I have been more uncompromising? Should I have been less fluid, less flexible? Should I really have pushed for whatever? And I was thinking about it because, being real honest, could I have made more money? Yeah. Like the job that I took, I'm making less than I was making before. It's a not, I mean, like, it's like it is, but it isn't. Like I'm gonna be fine. But then I was like, oh yeah, I picked I picked a time where I'm making less to move out and do all this other stuff. It'll work out. I know it will. And again, like I said in that video, I have a tendency towards complacency. So there are things that will hopefully be enough for me to not be complacent and to keep along at a pace that is appropriate. Um, Rather than me sort of like, again, getting complacent, compromising, and then settling in a space that I know was supposed to be temporary, like I almost did. Um, but then, and there were like other things, but everything is being like resolved. So I'm like, okay. Cause I was like, you know what? For me and my path, for where I'm going, this next step is incredibly significant for many reasons for me, for things that I need to prove to me, for things that I need to experience before I have other experiences as an introduction to all that will be. Just like the first time I flew to London by myself was like, oh, like I can do this. I can navigate. Okay, like the doctor did a good job on these eyes. It's kind of like that. It's something that opens up other possibilities. Jupiter, number 6, 6 and 26. This is the, oh, look, Jupiter has 3 golds on that finger. Okay. Jupiter on my ascendant, Jupiter entering my first house. I looked at the day. There's a reason why I looked at when Jupiter would enter my first house. It's because like it was my projected move-in date. That's why. And it is around that time. Interesting. Give me a minute and I'll read Jupiter. I do want to plug this up though. If I can plug this up and not knock over the camera. Ugh. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. It was like, because I was really like, should I have done things differently? Like, other people do things differently and they're getting this and they're getting that in the circle. And I'm like, no, nah. And then everything, like I said, is being taken care of. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you, because didn't know how that was going to happen. But again, it's something that I really feel like last year was helpful in instilling in me how to do the things that I need to do and to leave allowance to receive things that aren't for me to worry about and to not spiral into do whatever I need to do, right? Jupiter, expansion, possibility, and fortune. Jupiter is often a welcome sight, emerging from the darkness, shimmering with possibilities. Before I went into the card store, there was a song I put on Spotify as I was driving today for, I was just like, whatever. I was like, put on the Discover Weekly playlist, Google. And Google was like, okay. And I was like, I'm pretty sure none of these songs are on my personally curated Discover Weekly because what is this? And before I went into the card store, Out of the Darkness was the song that was playing. And then I forgot about it. And then when I went out and I turned on the card, it just started playing. And I'd send it to the card store owner because I was like, look at this. And he was like, oh my gosh, I love that artist. And that's the second time that's happened to me. I was listening to one song and one of my friends popped into my mind and I was like, I can see you dancing to this. He was like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard this song in so long. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad you're familiar. And then I sent that song to him and he was like, oh my gosh, I love this artist. I don't know. Anyway, Jupiter is often a welcome sight, emerging from the darkness, shimmering with possibilities. It is the planet of growth, expansion, success, and elevation. When this card appears, the future is full and bright, perhaps even dazzling. Everyone wants to be around Jupiterian energy and to claim a little for themselves, so there is likely a magnetic feeling at play. The work is to keep Jupiter's bigness in balance during the wave of expansion that's taking place. Its shadow is most easily seen in celebrity culture, excess consumption, and messaging of never enough. You may begin comparing yourself with others or assessing your value. Don't double judge yourself for this. Jupiter happens. Instead, realign with the benevolent message in your heart. What truly needs expanding? It's likely not your followers or your bank account. And I literally just talked about that. It wasn't. But at first, for a second, no. All right, Mortifactio number 68, LXVIII. 61, 63, 66, 67, 60. I went from 67 to 69. 68, Mortifactio, mortification. This is decay, death, and decomposition. Mortifactio is the great alchemical operation of darkness. What was once composed now decomposes. What was once presentable is now despicable. This stage cannot be avoided. The underworld has taken us into the dark interior of its belly, and here we reside until spring. Through the natural process of decay, we descend into depths we didn't know existed. The alchemist soon finds Mortifactio is a stage of regeneration and sacred power, where the soil is fertile and rich, offering nourishment for tomorrow. This stage cannot be rushed. The darkness must have time to do its work, to dismantle and to loosen, to free us from old scripts and stories. As we learn to surrender to this great operation, the earth churns and wisdom whispers in the dark. She envelops us with grace and the promise of what's to come. Um, Again, basically everything I was just saying. I think another thing too, I had it and then I lost it. I had it and then I lost it. I have this. I don't know if you can tell the change in the lights. Halloween is a global celebration of Mortifactio and the underworld. If this card has got you down, flip the script. There is freedom and expression in every operation. The Mortifactio card relates to the Death card in the Tarot and the Underworld card in the Archetypes deck. It is a universal symbol, not to be taken personally. Clarified by argentum, silver, gold with Jupiter, silver with death. Mortifactio. Silver and gold, oh wow. Silver of the moon, the darkness in the underworld, gold of the sun, the not underworld. This is 25. 25. Argentum silver. This is lunar, reflective, and chrome. Amidst its upper echelon status, silver shines eternally in second position. It is the lesser sibling, the one that's not quite there yet. A true alchemist does not resist this truth, but rather studies its subtle implications and its wisdom. Silver requires polishing, or the surface tarnishes over time. Mirrors require cleaning, or the image clouds and distorts. Whereas gold sustains its own malleable radiance, silver asks for our participation. We must work at it. Don't give up now. Silver wants to build relationships. Like the moon, a mirror, or a poem, let it reflect an image back. With an open heart and one more moment of willingness, the seemingly cold, stark surface of silver opens into the imaginal realm. What is there? Your own vastness, the mysteries that beckon you on moonlit nights. Through our daily devotion to silver, we find the truest gold. And yeah, again, like I literally just talked about that. That was basically the conclusion that I reached when I was like, for that split second, because I have a friend who is like, I feel like the way that I navigate a lot of stuff is different than the way that some other people that I've met navigate things. And there's a part of me that doesn't tend to, as like hyperbolic or as whatever, as much as I love like hyperbole and stuff like that. There's a part of me that doesn't like accentuate or exaggerate. Like, is I'm just like this is the situation. I'm not gonna come in here and make it seem like I have like, oh yes, I have this going on and I have that going on. So if you want me, you're gonna have to do it. I'm like, girl, look, I'm gonna be like upfront and honest. If I felt called and guided to seek out multiple opportunities so that I can compare and pick the best of whatever, like I would have done that, but that's not what I felt. And so when I didn't have that bargaining power or whatever, honestly, when I was like, you know what, like I'm flexible because I am. If I wasn't, then I wouldn't be. And I actually, I got off pretty well. um, but I was like, for a second, I was just like, should I have like looked in different places or should I have like driven a harder deal or whatever? Should I have tried to play whatever? And it was like, no. Again, for reasons that I've already said, but like that's not who I am. And like this is so intermediary. It's like getting like my foot through the door. In a way, it's like testing the water. It's like, if you've played Pokemon, like it's and if there's a Pokemon that has different like evolutionary forms, like Eevee, I'm like an Eevee. Like, do I want a Sunstone? Do I want a Water Stone? Do I want a Firestone? Do I want like friendship and fairy magic? Do I want to like evolve at night or in the daytime? Like, which form do I want to take? I'm like, I don't know, girl. There's so much that I haven't experienced. Let me just go in as an Eevee and have an experience and then decide which path I want to take to evolve. And for me, again, like that was the Mortifactio and the silver. It was that moment of like, of course, I understand why I feel this way, especially through like outside metrics and stuff like that. But it's one of those things for me, like, not only is it not who I am, I feel like I didn't do a lot of partying when I was in college, right? And towards the end, I was like, oh, I wish like I had like partied more because that's what people do in college, right? And then I was like, why? Like I don't even like it. I wouldn't have enjoyed it. It's not me. I wouldn't have had the same experience that everybody else has because that's not anything that I enjoy. The one party that I did finally go to, I was like, oh, like this is it. Dancing, alcohol, people. I was like, it's way too dark. There are way too many people. I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm good. Um, but I think too, I'm at such a point in my life, it's like there's such a huge understanding for me of like the second place of this silver, or there's something about the moon that is open, that is like receptive. Cause I have such a strong feeling it's like something is gonna shift and change and move. Like not necessarily faster than I anticipate because I'm feeling it coming like fairly quickly. And so it's like to remain flexible and fairly loose to allow whatever to happen. And if everything happening to this point is any indication, it's like, girl, okay, well, yeah, it's gonna be fast. It's gonna come out of nowhere. Wow, both silver and gold are here. Cool. Um, yeah, I'm excited. I do kind of sort of like the. I still have a partiality towards night shift because it's easier for me to stay up late than it is to get up early sometimes. And there's a lot that I'm gonna get to learn. And again, it's just like when I was interviewing and in that process, everything was so. That's the part with the mortifactio and the silver. That's the part I was going to talk about. And it's something that I talked about too. It's how I'm, as I've talked about earlier, like I'm finding deeper resonance and I'm finding deeper alignments with different things throughout my life. And a lot of the things, it's like carries an energy that's very similar to like we can only meet other people as deeply as we meet ourselves. But honestly, I guess it's like as there's a lot of resistance that I've just let go of, as there's even more surrendering that I'm doing where I just like show up, and as I am more willing and capable to receive in ways that again the third pass of my Saturn return was like you ask for all of this, but you don't stand in a position to receive it. So, because you like to get real mad, you like to get real upset, you like to look at how things are playing out in front of you in the short term, and you like to shake your fists at the universe and be like, I said I wanted da 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 da. But when we offer it to you, then where's that same energy? I thought you said you wanted it. Thought you said, I want everything and I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get it. Well, why aren't you doing it? Because here it is. Aren't you going to get it? And I was like, okay, well. And there has been a lot of that, that honestly, at this point, I don't have to necessarily exert too much conscious effort to do it. It's a lot easier to surrender and it's a lot easier to flow again because I have practice doing it, but also because I've experienced what happens when I leave myself open. And I want more of that. Things can go a lot better than I'm capable of planning, and I don't really plan. So, um, but in me being more flexible and more in an energy of receiving, and again, with a lot less restriction, there are things, there's resonance that I'm finding in people and in opportunities like with this job that I wouldn't have necessarily expected to. Maybe because of where I was when I asked for it, but at this point, it's very much like a lot of what I asked for, I'm finding out I've been given. And over time, over openness, over shared vulnerability, over like actually living my life and not just like Netflixing, video gaming all the time, not talking to anybody, it reveals itself. And it's like, oh, oh. And I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like I'm gonna die today, so I can be adventurous. Um, and I guess it is because of all of that happens on the internal, all of that happens in the silver, because I can allow my journey to be my journey and I can allow myself to not compare myself because of what I want. Not only what I want, Because with that same friend, the one who also is getting another opportunity, making like more. I'm like, I got a new opportunity and I'm making less. He making more. Also, what his path appears to be from the outside, and basically what I know of his path, it's not one that I want to walk. Um, I feel like his path is very accelerated and it's a lot. And I'm like, I don't want that for me. So if it take me a little long, and it might not even take me longer because anything could happen at any time. And it makes me think of someone who shared a story of like someone who was working like really hard and amassing a lot of money for a reason that they didn't even know until they knew why they were doing it. I don't feel that same pool in this, or I don't feel a pool in the same way to do it as quickly and to like I feel like what might be a 9 or a 10 of wands for him would be like a 20 or a 30 for me. And I'm like, I don't want that for me. That was another thing that made it like a lot easier for me to allow my path to be my path because I know how I am and I know what I want and I know what I don't want and I know what I want to be available for. And I already experienced that like working so much. I don't want that again. I don't. I had it. It wasn't terrible. I mean, it kind of was. I don't want it again. So if I gotta be wiser with my resources and not so maybe shadow side of Taurus, then hey, it's a lesson that I need to learn for so that I'm not wasting resources when I have more. I can allow my path to be my path. And I can look at someone else's journey and go like, although I may like certain aspects of it, although certain parts may be appealing, the way everything that's required for that, girl, I don't want it. I'm good. I pass. I'll take mine. Thanks. Mine is perfectly tailored to who I am. Okay. I feel like I should put something else on this. It honestly, gold makes me think of Sunstetta, a rarefied moment because it mentioned how rare gold is in the entry. I do have the wild unknown archetypes, but I don't really feel like pulling an archetype. I have the runes. I could pull a rune. Why not? I'll pull before and after Thorn. I'll shuffle it up a little bit, and I'll pull before and after Thorn. Um, I could pull before and after Sunstetta too, but I won't. If it comes out before or after Thorn, then it'll be there. So yeah, I feel like, and again, it really is this navigating both internal and external basically simultaneously thing. And whenever something happens in the external that triggers an internal reflection, I handle it. And then I go back to the external, or whenever anything happens on the internal that manifests on the external, I try to be aware of it so that I can be like, oh, when I get these feelings, when I listen to my discernment and I follow my intuition, this is what happens externally. Makes it easier. Oh, who was that? Was that Bjork? Somebody flipped over real smooth. Two. I love it. Speaking of freedom, speaking of liberation, speaking of living the life that I never thought I would live, speaking of, I'm glad I didn't let fear take me out, girl, because now life is actually getting kind of good. Bjork and Vindhorn flipped over real smooth in the deck. Began and unbound, right? Began poplar tree and being unbound. I also love the play between begin and being. If you flip the letters a little bit, begin and being both have the same 5 letters. Being. Begin. Speaking of Oracle juice. I don't have a drinking problem. I really don't. Um, begin and being. Begin being unbound. Again, like literally everything I was talking about. If you watch me back, you'll see that like this is literally it. Bottom of the deck is Waterfall, Kin, and Candle. Waterfall, Kin, and Candle with Apple Bearer right behind that candle. Love it. Now I'm just gonna look, and Sigil is behind Apple Bearer. But anyway, who am I looking for? Thorn. I feel like I should. I'm gonna pull from the top because I want before Thorn to actually be before Thorn and not like after it, but before. So Treadle, how we walk our path with Feo, wealth and livestock, followed by Earth Script, return. Treadle, Feo, and Earth Grip feel like restraint. I can like try to make myself look really good and be like, yeah, this is like discipline, girl. This is the discipline that I've had to have as I've walked my path. And honestly, it is. Um, but what is that saying? It just popped into my mind. It's like to those whom much is given, much is required, or something like that. It is interesting too because I was literally just talking about how this will be an opportunity for me to get a lot smarter with my resources, mostly financial. It'll be an opportunity for me to be less wasteful, which will be important. I mean, not to necessarily be like tight fisted or not to fall into an energy of like lack or to remove me from the energy of abundance, but it's like with certain resources, like certain resources are earmarked for certain things type of energy. Like there are things that I want to be able to do, and it's to actually do them. Then the Bifrost and Leaf Shade, Night, Man, Rod, Wacken, Lafruma, Nagu, Leaf, Ak, Gare. I think that was Gare. Stankness. No, not Stankness. Offer Lagu, Weird Hamer, Ash. I haven't seen Ash. Ash used to be the one that came out all the time. Condor, Ul, A, Aethel, Elks, Anwilla, Os, Wickedcraft, Rasa, Atburston, Perth. Yep. Flursa, Ing, Hod, Sunstetta. So before and after Sunstetta is Hod and Kanafa. 27, 37, 71. That's 273717, but the 17 is backwards. A rarefied moment. Again, like if I want to like make myself look good and feel good, which I guess I'm gonna do. Because the first three was that like to those who much is given, much is required. There's a certain amount of discipline that needs to be shown. There's an energy here that's like seeing the fruits of one's labor because it pulls on the sacrifice of Kanafa. It's like typically when we think of sacrifice, we only think of the things that we're losing, or we think more of the things that we're losing when we sacrifice. And it's because we can't necessarily see what we're gaining when we do that. It's like the gains take some time to come in. And so then it can be real easy to be like, well, I'm not seeing what I'm supposed to be seeing. What's the point of me sacrificing what I'm sacrificing? I should just go back and whatever. After that is swelledness, and then towardness, the past immediately into the present. No, the past immediately into the future. Oh, wow. What's after that? Yarna. It's the tie between the past and the future. They're not disconnected tenses. The now moment, like now, is so transient. It's like it barely even exists. Because as soon as we experience a moment, it's already in the past. And as soon as a moment becomes our present, it's no longer in the future. But it's the only moment that we have to, actively do things. Is Rippian, Yo, Hagal, Stankness, the real Stankness, Mona, almost at Kusma, title card, Calc, Thane, Health, Nide, Wacken, sorry, Herteka, Hang True, Gifu, Tier, other title card, Was, Brahm, I should, Igashalmer. I'm getting so deep into these. Your Thorn. Finally, it was a destined point. This alchemist's gold with Jupiter was destined. It doesn't mean I didn't have to do stuff to get here. For me, personally, the card after, here's the present moment. Onwardness. Your Thorn and Onwardness. And we have Gutton and Igashalmer on the two ends of that. There's an energy. Look at all of these swirls, like the swirl here, the swirl in Gutton, the swirls of the Thorn. The present is that moment through which, again, like the past and the future, they spin in, they spin out. Oh, great. We're doing this again. How did I fix this last time? 1 second. My mouse is doing some weird. Oh, it might be because I'm like, oh my gosh, why is it doing that? It's like move the thing off the trackpad, genius. um, there's an energy here where it's like nothing is off limits. That's what it had to be. Brahm is literally right before Igashalmer. So it's like for a long time. And that's one of the gifts, I guess, that I have with my journey. I've known the things that I consciously avoided for nearly all my life. So when it came time to like face stuff, I knew where to go. There were things that had evolved that I wasn't necessarily aware of. But for the most part, I knew what the big first steps for me was. And this is how I've navigated my path. Since then, since I had my darkest night, nothing is off limits. Anything and everything that needs to go must go. I'm willing to do anything and everything to get what I want. And it's not anything and everything in like shady, questionably ethical, whatever. It's like I'm willing to face, I'm willing to resolve, I'm willing to cry and feel and reel to heal because again, like I actively self sabotage so many opportunities and I allowed fear to dictate so much of my life. I was like, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. And I don't want to be anymore because I don't got much time left if I am. There's so much choice in this because it like your is before Thorn, before the giant thorny portal, before my first Saturn return. Everything that happened up until that moment, even now, everything that happened up until now was destined in a way that it's like this is how I'm reading it. It's like it was destined in a way to get me to this point where I actually have choice. And it feels like that's what this present of onwardness symbolizes. It's like everything up until now needed to happen to get you to the point where you experience whatever you're experiencing right now. Literally being unbound. The two cards that came out, which is again, nothing is off limits. Anything and everything can be gutted, resolved, healed, faced, whatever. Because this is very much so what I desired, to be unbound. My life was like, when I say ruled by fear, girl, like, but now in this present moment, true, genuine, legitimate choices can be made. Could I have chosen at any point along my path to do things differently? Of course. And maybe there's also like this cultivated inner awareness of what I want and what I'm willing to do, or what I want and what I'm willing to sacrifice, or what I want and the path that I would like to take to get it. I myself personally love a bit of a meander, to just walk, to just stroll, to just experience, to be open. Cool. Another read that was all about me. It's fine. Like I said, there are many things happening. Some of it I don't even understand. But and those that I don't understand, it's almost because there's a resonance that continues to reveal itself that I'm like, this is that's why I'm like, what is happening? That's also why I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna enjoy the ride. I'm just gonna surrender because something is happening and I am wanting to find out where this is going. But that was the giant thorny portal. Again, it's like that was the whole point. To be unbound. And I'm not going to say that I am. Well, I'm not going to say I'm not. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything else. If Siri says tails, we're done talking about Patrick. If Google, I don't know. I'll ask Bixby. Ever since I've installed the Google Assistant, I don't even talk to Bixby no more, and I feel kind of bad. So if Bixby says tails, we're done with Patrick. If Bixby says heads, apparently we're not. Hi, Bixby. Flip a coin.
All right, here comes the flip. Looks like it came up heads.
So we're not done with Patrick. Okay. Let's get another archetype to move this forward. Because again, it feels like silver and gold has been navigating the internal and the external in a way to get them to align more and more. What's the question? Yeah, what does this lead to? Or what's the silver and gold? I'll try to be extra attentive this time cuz that silver and Jupiter just like came out of nowhere. I looked down, I'm like, I didn't see these fall out. Where these cards come from? I guess it's funny because if I would have noticed them, I would have potentially missed out on the gold. More the fact too, I feel like I could do without, and it would have just been silver and Jupiter. Maybe this is an interesting point where it's like sometimes we can be so focused on the healing or the reflection or the internal that we get like lost in it. And when we get lost in it, we don't see how things change in the external environment, or we don't necessarily see different opportunities that present themselves that are aligned with where it is that we want to go. It's like it can be very easy to fall into a self-critical um rabbit hole of I need to do this and I need to do that. And if I would have noticed the cards, it's almost like I would have been left there. It's like this chasm that's just expanding. It's like you never hit the bottom. But because I didn't notice it, because I was, I got to see the gold and the mortifactio. And the mortifactio again, it's just like that transformation. I got to see the transformation of what my life is and what it's becoming and what I'm open to. Again, like I had a friend who was like, "Hey, I'm going to be out of California for a bunch of days this summer. Like I'm taking a lot of vacation this summer. If you want to come down here and stay in my apartment for a few days, you are more than welcome." And I'm like, with the way that my schedule is looking, I will more than likely have time to do that. And again, it's so many things like with the notary today to complete my I-9 form. I could have just like sat there in silence. Like I've said before, I'm not the type of person like I don't hate small talk. I think small talk can be a little awkward sometimes, but I don't hate it. I kind of enjoy small talk a little bit. I really love conversations with depth, but I also have an appreciation for small talk. And I could have just sat there and not really, just waited until we got the thing done. But I took that opportunity to like talk to her a little bit. And I don't know, it was nice getting to meet a person. I think I don't know, I don't necessarily have to and it's fine. I don't have to get into the rabbit hole with that one. I don't even know why I started talking about that. I think there are so many beautiful moments that can happen at like literally any interaction in life. But small talk also holds a lot of that beauty. And it's also like not a lot of it, some of it. But it's also like, sometimes you got to start somewhere, you know. I feel like sometimes we immediately want to be at the end of a thing, or we immediately want to be at the point of being recognized that we aren't necessarily present, that it can be difficult sometimes to be present enough in the small everyday moments to see some of those things that are truly like gorgeous and unique and beautiful. To see those glimpses of another one's soul through small talk, you believe it or not. There's a lot about balance in this. And it's for me. I'm the person that's like, embrace the paradox. So, of course, Matt with the vampire emojis. I need to go to bed. No. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. I'm like, oof, I went to bed at 6. It's fine. All right. All right, all right, all right. This card was at the bottom of the deck. Bottom of the deck is Cauda Pavonis, the Peacock's Tail, number 55. Why that? There's like a little bit of the sun, the moon, the world, because in, yeah, the world card in the Wild Unknown Tarot, the world has a thing that's kind of like that. I believe. I believe. Venus came out. Oh, it's the other benefic. Jupiter and Venus. Venus came out number 4 with the Despicable Face number 48 and the Caput Corvi, the Raven's Head number 47. 47, 48, and the number 4 is here. Um Also this one is 68. And the only reason why I mentioned it is because 48 is XLVIII, and then 68 is LXVIII. So the 10 moves from one side to the other. The Despicable Face was at the bottom of the deck before. But this Despicable Face being the Raven's Head is interesting. I guess that could be related to. Honestly, this may be like finding enjoyment in certain things or finding beauty in certain things, seeing certain things in a different way because the self imposed mist is gone. Because I'm not looking at everything through the lens of fear or through the eyes of like, can I do that? Can I do that? Should I do it? Like, ew, I don't want to get close to people. Ew, I don't want to experience any of the things that I actually genuinely want to experience in life. So if it's too whatever, then oof. Anyway, I'll just read them and then I might just go to bed. If you watch this and you find something that helps you or that resonates or whatever, always, always, always use your own intuition, discernment, guidance, knowledge, and wisdom. Like literally, I'm just here to like offer a different perspective and to communicate my truth while also trying to at the very least be open to other truths. Because I think it's just nice to have a different point of view sometimes. And I think that as we find ourselves in a space that is so new in some ways, but that is also extremely well, it's not defined, established. In other ways, it can be easy to like, you know, Venus, pleasure, eros, and beauty. She's copper, another metal, gold, silver, and copper. Well, she's not. Like the copper card didn't come out, but with the arrival of Venus, the senses open as if for the first time. It is a planet of pleasure, of touch, of sensual delights. Venus is often depicted as romance or eroticism between people, but it can also be experienced as an all out love affair with Mother Nature herself. Aphrodite emerging from the ocean is a classic example of Venus imagery, as is Cupid with his bow. No matter how old or jaded you are, when this card appears, it's a sign that attraction is at an all time high. The laboratory is alight with love. You may be in love with the work, with the materials, with another person, or with the world itself. Seeing beauty in small moments is a sign Venus is in balance, an obligatory reminder that pleasure and pain are usually found intertwined. As I was literally talking about those beautiful moments and like small talk, and kudos to oh girl, because I don't know, she said that like Venus rules Taurus. Taurus is it's like abundant. Venus is abundance, right? It's like the Empress, girl. Everything grows in her presence. Um, but she was talking about how she's like 8 years from retirement, and I was like, "Oh, like, do you know what you're gonna do?" And she was like, "I love gardening. Like, I love planting and I love flowers, but because I'm so busy with work, like, I never have the time to really like get out into the yard. So the first like 3 or 4 months after I retire, I'm just gonna be." She was because first, and maybe this is another thing about like small talk. Because she was like, I was like, "Oh, do you have any plans for retirement, or like, do you have any ideas of what you're gonna do?" And she was like, "A lot of yard work," and I was like, because usually when you hear yard work, you don't necessarily right. But she was like, "I love planting, I love gardening." I was like, "Oh, okay." So it's something that you actually like love to do. Cool. Anyway, Ariel, hi, how are you? You came to my mind not too long ago because people, whenever someone talks about a newborn baby, my brain goes, "Oh, Ariel." Well, Ariel said, because she was talking about her baby going through a sleep regression. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I know someone else who's been experiencing a sleep regressed baby." So yeah, anyway. Oh, snap. What? Sorry to hear they shut down the school. And it was a nightmare. So are you out of it? Is everyone sleeping at night so that you can sleep at night? Yeah, you did you go to the Big Island for your birthday? And your mom or your parents were there taking care of the babies? Glad to hear it. I'm doing well. Things are and you're still awake? I would be in bed too. I mean, I say that, but here I am still awake, so maybe I wouldn't be. Find you $500. Or, 50. Wait. See, when you like get hit with a 555, that's the kind of 555 that you don't want. You live on the Big Island. On the sunny side. You were pampered and it was I feel like my Taurus placements. Honestly, when that new moon and Taurus was going on, I was eating more than I have. I was like, okay, I need to not eat so much. All the cookies. I was like, I was doing so good. And I didn't go to the gym. I actually missed it. I was like, I need to work out. I'm like, who am I? Why do I want this? And 55,500. Oh my gosh. Well, I hope everything gets like worked out and stuff. Yeah, she's refuting it. She went on the news. She said, uh. Are you going to be like famous? I'm kidding. That's not what's important. Mm. Oh gosh, I need. Oh, I just kicked it again. You hope not. you know, so I was watching one of my faves the other day, and there's an interesting energy that's been floating around. I've been seeing a lot of a certain whatever, and I'm like when you see it one time, you're like, okay, obviously not for me. When you see it a second time, you're like, what? When you continuously see it nonstop, and you're like, obviously this isn't me, but you keep seeing it, and then people are like, you don't even see this, and then you're like, but wow, okay, well, shut me up. What? Disagree also days. Well, I love where your heart is at. Ooh, oh. It sucks that they were able to get away with that. It also sucks that you got to have money to be like, no, you can't do this. And they're like, oh, well, we have the money to afford the best lawyer. So pretty sure we can get away with it. What are you going to do? I was like, girl, chopped your hair. It's kind of blonde. I kind of love it. I'm obsessed. I haven't seen it, but I already know I love it. Look at Holly with the advice. Hey, been busy now. You're gonna create an online ruckus. Ooh. Well, the space is ready for you. I almost want to call you Cosmic Mama. Cosmic Mama. She's birthing through all the star seeds. Ooh, you gotta no. Your Chiron isn't in Leo too. I don't know why I was like, you got a Chiron in Leo? I'd be like, yeah, no, it's fine. I think you want me to put myself out there? I don't even tell people I have you can have it. I mean, it's already yours. As far as I'm concerned, it is already yours. um yeah, I don't even like telling people I got a channel. Your Chiron is in Cancer. Aw. Look at this beautiful family that you're creating. Chiron where? Oh, Chiron is a womb. A healed Chiron is a womb. Thank you for answering the question, Ariel, that we opened with. A healed Chiron is a womb through which many things are birthed. Oh, excuse me. Okay. I feel like I'm pushing it. I can feel myself starting to hit a second wind. I'm like, I'm trying to like caress my brain and like go to bed. Shh. Your portal is closed. Why do I almost feel like I had a dream? Have y'all ever had like do y'all have any memories? This is just a general question. I'm like, am I just a Pisces or is this a thing? Um, it's like, do y'all ever have recollections and you're like, or like you have memories and you're like, did that actually happen or was that a dream? I feel like it's not that uncommon. right? They call it Darshan. Ooh. Oh, she's not even in Hawaii anymore. Bami Spirit, Island Turtle, Rodin. She's not in Hawaii anymore. Excuse me. Your memory is so, yeah. Was that this incarnation or did that happen like 65,000 years ago? Like, like, jokes. He's got jokes. He thinks he's a comedian. He thinks he's funny. He need to go to bed because 7 a.m. is early. Anyway. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Is that what it's called? Hold up. I feel like honestly with you, I'm not even surprised. I'm not even surprised. I do feel like Horace is an interesting addition, though. Not really. If Horace is who I'm thinking of, and I'm pretty sure he is, then I'm less surprised. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, yeah. Horace is who I think, so I'm less surprised. I'm like, oh, I'm so surprised. Like, oh wait, yeah, no, I'm not. Okay, why did I pull out my phone? It's 1 o'clock. I gotta be at work and have to be there in 6 hours. I got, I still got stuff to do. I'll get it done anyway. So Venus, where was I? Oh, I barely started it. We're reading Patrick right now because that's what I do here. Oh wow, the Eye of Horus. How is your head like not explodey? With the arrival of Venus, the senses open as if for the first time. Oh my gosh, you're a Taurus. The arrival of Venus. Oh my gosh, what? Welcome. It is the planet of pleasure, of touch, of sensual delights. Venus is often depicted as romance or eroticism between people, but it can also be experienced as an all out love affair with Mother Earth, Mother Nature herself. Aphrodite emerging from the ocean is a classic example of Venus imagery, as with Cupid and his bow. No matter how old or jaded you are, when this card appears, I did finish reading this. When this card appears, it's a sign that attraction is at an all time high. The laboratory is alight with love. You may be in love with the work, with the materials, with another person, or with the world itself. Seeing beauty in small moments is a sign Venus is in balance, an obligatory reminder that pleasure and pain are usually found intertwined. The book says pleasure and pain are usually found intertwined, but the Lafrumas said that the past and the future are intertwined with the Swelgeness, Tuartness, and the Yarna. Anyway, your head is exploding? Okay, well. I feel like as I'm talking to you, my brain is trying to remember some dream. And I'm like, I don't know if I dreamed that dream, brain. Brain is like, yeah, you didn't dream that dream. You're having a vision. I'm kidding. He's got jokes tonight. It's because he's tired. It's because he needs to go to bed. Number 48, The Despicable Face. Excuse me. Don't encourage me. Volte faciem, The Despicable Face. What is hidden, unaccepted, shamed? The despicable face is never seen. Rather, it is kept in hiding to save outward appearances. This card appears when something below the surface wants to be witnessed in order to be transformed. Everyone has their own version of the despicable face and their own reasons for assuming it is an abomination. It could be a buried resentment, an insecurity, or a physical characteristic that holds us back from expressing our true self. Remarkably, once revealed, it is not despicable at all. It is human. It is interesting. What once was thought of as an error becomes an asset on our journey of alchemical transformation. This card connects us to others and to humanity as a whole, with Venus talking about connection. Through acceptance, we lift the veil of perfection and reclaim our energy. Honesty and acceptance are the balm that heals the most tender of wounds. Really? Oh my gosh. What was I doing? Well, when was it? I feel like for a hot second there, dreams were just like, I'm texting Rob. I'm like, Rob is like, what did Rob? He said something, and then I sent him a GIF of Mean Girls. Rebecca George? No, Regina George. I was like, it's not Rebecca. Like, Trap trying to make stop trying to make the subconscious happen. I was like, stop trying to make the subconscious happen. He's like, I don't know. Like, have you explored it? You should write down what these things mean and like see if anything pops up in your subconscious. But the reason why I made that face is because the despicable face came out like under Venus on the side of Mortificatio and Silver. All of that internal stuff that needs to be seen, witnessed, and transformed. And then, boom, when you look at it, it's not even that scary. It's not even that gross. Regina George was so mean. Like, they literally had a montage of all of the things that they tried to do to mess with Regina, and everybody ate every single one of them up. I cut holes in my t-shirt because Regina was like, if she said fetch, fetch would have happened. It would have happened, but she couldn't give it to Gretchen Wieners. You could visually explain it, but it won't even make sense. It was a flying dream. You saw me and I was flying? Or were we both flying? Was I like a. See, there's like. I feel like there's this like a broken circuit in my brain that's almost trying to. My last two brain cells trying to formulate a thought. So, Caput Corvi, number 47, literally the card right before it. The revealed despicable face. Caput Corvi, Raven's Head. Initiation, the ordeal, the work begins. Though alchemy is filled with a myriad of open ended symbols, the Raven's Head has a precise message. It arrives to mark the beginning of the work. This card indicates something has occurred, known or unknown, to initiate the spinning of the alchemical wheel. With its mighty churning, with its mighty churning, things are about to change on every level. The raven's work cannot be undone, just as the pill cannot be unswallowed, or the pearl turned back to sand. You may be overwhelmed or think the journey ahead is not for you. Your doubts matter not to the raven, as its appearance signifies it has chosen you. As I was literally talking about all these dreams that I had talking to Rob anyway. You are ready and the moment is now. Can you go back to the way things were? Can you pretend nothing has changed? The raven caws a clear no. It does not apologize, as it knows your destiny is great. This coming out under Venus on the side of Jupiter and Aurum. And look at all that gold that Jupiter has. It's like, oh, you completed one work. Oh my gosh, congratulations. It's like the Eight of Pentacles. Put it on the wall, frame it, put it on your refrigerator, get started on the next one. You ain't done yet. You thought this was over? This is just the beginning. Anyway, it had layer. Oh, wait. Oh, girl, don't be putting me out there like that. People don't need to know how I'm just. I am just kidding. I'm just a dude. I'm just a dude. I'm just a guy. There's gold on Venus. It's the bottom of the deck. You see that? That almost looks like a pearl. The pearl from the raven's mouth. Initiation. I feel like that sounds like such an interesting dream. Oh my gosh, I'm I'm flattered that you would see me that way. I'm just a regular, smegular, degular human. We are all powerful. That's hilarious. I was just thinking not too long ago. I remember when Eve was like, I had a dream that you were sitting in the branches of the Idrisil tree. I was like, oh, well, catch me on a Tuesday, right? Ugh. I think I told y'all that. I had that when I had the interview, and she was like, one of the questions, I don't know why, because I feel like I've heard that question before. It's not groundbreaking, it's not new, but when she asked me that question, I felt so that like right time, right place. I'm ready for this opportunity now in a way that I would not have been before. But she was just like, one of the questions that I love to ask all of the candidates that I interview is like, why you and why not them? And I even told her, I was like, I'm so glad you asked me this question now because now I feel like I can really answer it. And I was like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm not like other guys, and blah, blah, blah. And also, I'm humble as like a little joke. See, but that was a griffin. That was a griffin. I did have a dream. Well, that was a while ago, though. I mean, I feel like dreams are. Oh, I almost had it. I almost had it. Honestly, I haven't been using my dream. Besides the dreams I send to Rob and that I email sometimes, I don't even use the app anymore. I sent Rob this voice note that I sounded drunk in. I was like, I'm half asleep, but I gotta tell you about this dream. I listened back to it. I'm like, oh my gosh. I feel like there's a dream that's trying to come back to my remembrance. Oh, with the Raven's head. Well, I was like, because I was talking to Rob about some of my dreams, and he was like, "Oh, could be this, could be that." I was like, no, thank you, nope, not interested. I want a muggle. I want to be where the muggles are. I want to work my 9 to 5 in my cubicle. Small talk at the water cooler. Work picnics and human petty drama. Um, and then I was like, fine, fine, fine. I will open up. We'll see, whatever. I'm going to ask Bixby the same question. If Bixby says tails, we're done with Patrick. If Bixby says heads, prepare to suffer through more. If Bixby says anything except heads or tails, then it's good night time because it is 1:16 in the morning. Hi, Bixby. Flip a coin.
All right, here comes the flip. Tails it is.
We're done with Patrick. Thank you. Bixby said heads. Because Bixby said heads, I pulled more cards. One of the cards was the despicable face. The other card was the raven's head. Bixby said heads, and 2 out of 3 of the cards were related to the head. What? I told y'all synchronicities are wild. Mars is in Leo, separating from Venus until they come together in Leo. Like Mars was in Gemini, Cancer. Mars was in Cancer, and then Venus entered Cancer, and then Mars was like, I'm going into Leo. And Venus is like, "Oh, I'm faster than you are. I'll see you in Leo." Your entire day is so human, so deep in the human experience. Don't you love it? Is this not why we incarnate on this planet? To experience the most mundane of things. Isn't it wonderful? I'm kidding. With babies, oof. And sometimes you feel like you're in a weird state, like not quite up. There was a point in time where I would be in that in between, like as soon as I'm going to bed or as I'm waking up, I would like my brain would do stuff and I'd be like, oh, I'll definitely remember that. That sounds significant. And then I'd wake up and forget it. I'd be like, oh, I should put that down immediately so I don't forget it. But then like it plays in my head over and over and over. And I'm like, I'm not gonna forget this. Then I do. All right. 5 shuffles for the collective. If nothing comes out, I'll take the top and bottom. Alchemy. Alchemy. Oh, 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 oh. Gosh, look at all that. Tried to fall out. Stop playing. These cards keep scaring me. Keep scaring. Baby just woke up. Oh, you got a whole. I'm just kidding. Well, I will see you later, Cosmic Mama. If you got to go, I'm so proud of you for doing the interview. I know you've said before when you started making videos that that's not necessarily what you want to do. It is very much so outside of your comfort zone. And I applaud you and appreciate you for doing what your guides and your team and your crew tell you to do, girl. Because if they have you out under the waterfall at 3 o'clock in the morning, you be there. I lost count. I will just cut it here. Oh, actually. So we're going to do a little bit of a choose. Choose left or right. Left or right. Look at them shake. Whichever one shake like you like, then pick that one. I'll do the right one first because I want to put the left one off to my left. So 8:18 her B day. What? Oh, like the time. Okay. I forgot you said it's like 8 o'clock because I'm like, it's like 3 here. 3. It's not even 3. Venus. If you chose the right one, Veneris, Venus at the top, and calcinatio, calcification at the bottom. 4 and 64. 60 is the devil. LXIV, yeah. 4 and 64. No problem. And I feel like you're one of those people. See, the part of Patrick that likes to justify why he does and doesn't do the things that he does and doesn't do. Well, look at someone who's like a cardinal sign, who's like an Aries. Like my journey buddy, she's an Aries. And I'd be like, well, she's an Aries, so she can do it. And then I met a Pisces who also does stuff. And I was like, man, I knew it wasn't a good excuse, but at least I could run with it. But since you're a Taurus and I'm a Taurus moon, I don't even have the Taurus in me to like fall back on. Because it's like, well, what's your excuse now? I was like, fine, fine. You win. I'll do it. Resin, 38. It's in the middle. Resin. Oh, calcification resin. Cute. Okay. Maybe I should have kept it. Let's see if I can get it back. I did not get it back. Now instead we have melanosis, darkening. Okay. I don't know why I just read pork when you said peft. Am I hungry? No, I need to go to bed. I will read Venus for you again. Veneris, Venus. With the arrival of Venus, the senses open as if for the first time. You know what this feels like? This feels like a blackhead, almost low key Cancerian, just because a few zodiacs ago, Cancer got an energy where they were the hermit crab that's in between shells. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so soft and squishy. But as their skin was exposed to the air, it like oxidized and it hardens to the point where like they don't need a shell. Something about this, the senses open as if for the first time. It's like when they're open and exposed to the specifically air, they oxidize. It could be anything that oxidizes them, I guess. But and like that oxidation is this calcification. It is the planet of pleasure, of touch, of sensual delight. Venus is often depicted as romance or eroticism between people, but it can also be experienced as an all out love affair with Mother Nature herself. Aphrodite emerging from the ocean is a classic example of Venus imagery, as is Cupid with his bow. No matter how old or jaded you are, when this card appears, it's a sign that attraction is at an all time high. The laboratory is alight with love. You may be in love with the work, with the materials, with another person, or with the world itself. Seeing beauty in small moments is a sign Venus is in balance, an obligatory reminder that pleasure and pain are usually found intertwined. Now we go all the way to 64. Oh, it's the first one. It's the first of the 8 operations. Calcanatio. Your hermit, your hermit is a soft shell crab. Your husband is a soft shell crab. Oh, I like squishies. Just like. mm. Anyway, eating a homemade Caesar salad. Oh, what did I say? Pork. I read pork. I didn't really like pork. Moon, rising, Jupiter, Mercury, North Node, and Venus. That's a mega stellium. Moon, rising, Jupiter, Mercury, North Node, and Venus in Cancer. Calcinatio, calcification, heat, fire, and desire. Not Venus and desire. Oof. Venus and Mars are going to conjunct in Leo. So I feel like it's one of those times where like readers would be like, if you don't, if you're going to engage in certain activities that can lead to, um, what are those like commercials where it's like a bee lands on a flower and then a Calcinatio is the great alchemical operation of fire. It occurs when there is enough heat in the vessel to transform the nature of that which is solid or fixed. How does calcinatio begin? With a tiny glimmer, an urge, a desire that builds into a robust flame. On a psychic level, this stage may be an uprising of emotion that has been repressed or dismissed. It wants something big to change, to be brought to the light and purified, perhaps a flawed ideology, institution, or outlook. Frustration and anger are wondrous change makers if their heat is channeled with space, time, and awareness. The transformation that occurs from calcinatio is rarely harmonious. It requires commitment and a willingness to sit through discomfort as old patterns fall into the ashes. The flame initiates sacred change, and eventually the phoenix rises. Ooh. This was he making pancakes before? I remember Patrick and the pancakes. I remember not being the only Patrick with pancakes. There you go. Maybe that's a better way to phrase that. I've met another Patrick recently. He is a Capricorn. Excuse me. I kind of love Capricorn for grounding Gemini, low key. Um, there was something really interesting in that it mentioned changing the nature of something, and that really caught my attention. I was like, "Ooh." I was looking for 68 again. It occurs when there is enough heat in the vessel to transform the nature of that which is solid or fixed. Transforming the nature of something that's solid or fixed, because Venus is associated with copper and because calcification is here with an operation of fire, an operation of fire that involves metals is also smelting. So I'm going to look before and after tier as two room. Oh, girl, hold up, hold up. Oh, I'm looking at the bottom of the deck. I was like, I got my deck all mixed up. Okay, I'll give it two more. Okay. 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 Who flipped over? It would be hilarious. I don't think it's. I hope it's not Hartaka. I don't think it's Tier. It's not Hartaka. It is Gare, number 33, Gar. Or Gare, number 33, Spear, Troth. Spear Troth is interesting. I feel like fire can be one of those elements. Desire can be one of those things that has can have such a hold on us that it just, and so there's something here about um it's that oxidation again. There's something here about something being more than what we would think it to be. As Venus is opening us up in a way, as something is exposed to the elements, as something is accessible, it feels like a pain, but it doesn't. It's Bengay. It hurts so good. It hurts so good. It's how they say literally pleasure and pain are entwined together. It feels like a sensitivity. Oh, girl. It feels like a sensitivity, but it's like a good sensitivity. And it makes you want to explore it. Like, oh, okay. And that's all I got to say. Because although it is that time of night, this is not that type of channel, and I am not that type of reader tonight. Who am I looking for? Tier. Okay. I have to remind myself. Hardtaker was between Hang True and Ghoul, if you're curious. Get out of my brain. I got a song in my brain that is not that is not appropriate. I blame my bestie. I gotta talk to her tomorrow. Oh girl, I need to get some sleep. So we have Lagoo and Yor. Lagoo, Tier, and Yor. Honestly, Elks and Mona, this feels like fumbling in the darkness. Like Elks feels like a wall. Mona with Moon, I mean Mona is Moon recognized, but it feels like feeling the boundaries of something. Like literally feeling it out. Here's another Your moment. It's another destined point. Um, but it's one that brings a lot of fluidity with the Lagoo. It almost feels like maybe there's something, like there's an area of life that may carry a lot more caution than it need to. I feel like that's not the best way to put it because it's not that you shouldn't be cautious. It just feels like kind of raw. It's sensitive. It feels good with like a certain amount of pressure, but it can very easily tend to like extremely painful in a way that's not pleasurable to anybody. There's the pleasurable pain, and then there's just straight up painful pain. Even if you have a higher pain tolerance, even if you're into it, it feels like this would just be the point where it hurts and you're not even into it. Anyway, but um, my brain just died. One moment, please, while we do a factory reset. Again, it feels like maybe it's like something that it's almost Five of Cups energy. It's almost the grotesque and the SKT. And every now and then the grotesque's energy will come up. It's like there's something that you hid for good reason that you no longer have to hide. There's something within you that maybe you thought was unlovable because you didn't experience an appreciation of that for wherever you were, for however long you were there. But you're starting to attract different. And so it feels like an opening up in a way that you might still carry a lot of vulnerability. And you don't necessarily you navigate that in whatever way feels comfortable for you. Um, what was resin? I think resin was 38. Maybe resin is like the result of this calcified opening. But it's like the thing about resin is that you can see whatever is inside of it. So it feels like a hard shell would obscure what lies beneath. But like resin, it feels like resin offers the same protection, but there's a transparency there so you can see something rather than like trying to hide something. And honestly, that reads like a very healthy amount of self love. Where it's like, I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna be authentic, I'm gonna da 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 da, and I don't care how you take it because I love me, and the people who love me, and that's good enough for me. You're missing out. Type of energy. Live your truth, and I hope you more people who see you, who appreciate you. If you chose the left one, we're going there. Number 39 at the top of the deck, Nebula, Fog. The bottom of the deck is number 18, Aestus, Summer. Who is Aestus? And then there's Encreatum, the uncreated, at the bottom under the bottom. Aestus, who is that? That is a person. That's a somebody. Let's Google. Google is my friend. Google Aestibus. Aestibus. Tibus. There we go. Oh, is it just the word? Heat, fire, tide, surge of the sea, passion. Oh, it's the plural dative form of Aestus. Oh, that's Aestus, not Aestis. But again, we have that energy of like heat, of passion. Apparently, Mars and Leo is heating some stuff up and it's getting a bit warm for Venus. Maybe. I'm gonna go ahead and get these now. I feel like this is like rubbing up against maybe it's because my facial hair. Like I feel like it's rubbing up against my cheek. Thank you for not falling on the floor. Guess who you get, girl? Look at Lagu flipped back over. I'll take the top of the deck, which is Kanafa, and the bottom of the deck, which is Uul. Ooh. Almost a little bit of that energy of before when Kanafa came out with Hod. Um, and it was that energy that's like, whenever we think of sacrifice, it can be so easy to think of the thing or the things that we're giving up and not what we're gaining. Because oftentimes the giving up is a lot more immediate than the receiving. But let's read these cards and see what the books say, shall we? Nebula, number 39, Fog. Oh, this is disorientation, a funk, and a lull. When fog is present, nothing is clear, not even the problem. It's hard to orient oneself or to know where you're headed. A distinctly damp mood blankets the laboratory. Fog can be surprisingly pleasant as a counter to drama, and therefore it can lull us to sleep for long periods of time. With its cooling nature, fog is a natural balm for pain and trauma. Yet, this state cannot sustain us, for we long to see the horizon in our surroundings. There are two solutions. The first solution, guess what the first solution for heat is? Guess what the first solution for fog is? It's heat. Heat. Think sweating, there's desire again, confrontation, passion, creativity. If that's too edgy, the second and inevitable solution is time. As they say, the morning fog burns off by noon. The sun will be seen again. How much time you spend in the fog is yet to be determined. Excuse me, sorry. How much time you spend in the fog is yet to be determined. And again, Estibus, Aestibus, according to Wiktionary, um, according to Latin is simple, according to wordsense.eu, it's a noun meaning heat, fire, tide, surge of the sea, figuratively passion. Oh, it's the summer. Summer brings heat in a lot of places, if not most of them, which is interesting. So already, I don't, it almost feels like it doesn't matter because the time is now. Summer is literally the time of heat. It's the season where heat is usually at its most abundant. Heat is an energy. Heat is quantifiable. Heat is like beans because why not? The more beans you have, the hotter you are. The less beans you have, the colder you are. And there is a property of each material that determines how much heat is required for it to reach a certain temperature. Kind of sort of change temperature by 1 degree. That's the easiest way to measure it. But temperature isn't necessarily as linearly equivocated between different materials, at least, as heat is. Because again, heat is kind of sort of, in physics, heat is more absolute. Again, it's something that you can count, it's something that you can measure, typically in like joules. Temperature is relative. Again, certain things can take more heat and not get hot as quickly. They're really good, like insulators, or certain things get hot real quick. They're really good conductors of heat. But either way, the time of heat is so it's like, well, the first one was heat, the second one is time. Well, the time is now, um, which could be a little uncomfortable if you're not ready. 18. Aestus, summer. This is fullness, vitality, and sensuality. Sensuality. To experience summer is to be embodied. The summer air kisses every crevice of our body, opening us up in ways long forgotten. Lust, desire, laughter, sweat, physicality. These are all expressions of summer's fullness shining through. When this card appears, know that the senses are heightened and the work is nearing full expression. It may feel as though things are electrified or about to burst. Keep in mind that, like all the alchemical seasons, summer will soon pass. For now, everything in your narrative is fleshed out, and the story has just another chapter or two until it begins again. So revel in this time of ripening and rhythm. Celebrate, gather, connect. Whether the season is literal or metaphorical, let yourself be swept into the pulse of these hot and heavy nights. We literally just started Gemini season tropically, which means that we are nearing the summer. Mutable leads into the next season. Cancer is the solstice point. In the northern hemisphere, it's the summer solstice. In the southern hemisphere, it's the winter solstice. Right. So it's literally almost summer at the same time, at least in the northern hemisphere. Excuse me. I was going to say Lagoon could be like a fluid passing of time, but fog can also be fluid. It actually feels like dry ice. My brain is reading it as dry ice, but it's like the heat is evaporating something that's creating a fog. It feels like if the fog that you are experiencing is the melting of something or is the sublimation question mark, it's more so sublimation, especially with dry ice, I think. Then heat isn't necessarily going to help. It's just going to continue to evaporate more. And it feels like that's the Kanafa side of things. If it's the standard type of fog, then it'll evaporate it basically and you'll like see the sun, and that's the Uul side of things. Summer mentioned, Aestus mentioned heightened senses, Uul owl senses. It also feels like at the very least there'd be like a temporary reprieve. I guess that again, if it's not like mirages are caused by heat. As air is heated up, it does those wavy thingies as it rises because warm air rises. And it's not fog, but it isn't, there's no clarity in it either. This one is too involved for me tonight. I also think that, again, this one is so relative, maybe. But my initial feeling was that it's like as we're coming into summer, as things are like warming up and moving, there's just going to be like a reprieve. It's summertime. People are getting the summertime, not sadness. the summertime jollies. And again, like it feels like a temporary reprieve. Is it only going to last in the summer? Like, will it only last for a season? Because after the heat is gone, then the fog will come in again. Or will it be resolved? I don't know. That's like a you thing. And honestly, because Kanafa is here and Ul is here, I don't know. I don't know. I'll just leave it as an I don't know. I'll present to you what it is that I feel, and you discern for you whatever. Because on one hand, it's like it's not to pass up the moment for what it is to breathe and to experience whatever levity or clarity comes your way. But on the other hand, it feels like it could be to realize the ephemerality of the lifted fog, the temporariness of the summer season, and to not neglect the things that you are like being shown, to not neglect the things that are seen as the fog is lifted. Because when the sun goes down and the days grow shorter, the fog can like roll right back in. But it's like if you look at those things, then it's like you'll know that they're there. There is something that is also almost a little. Each baby has gotten out of bed. Oof. First one and then all of them. Um, there's something that is a little bit like maybe like pattern forming or habit forming. It may be a time to form new habits and new patterns, maybe healthier, just different. Because it's like when the fog is lifted, you get into a routine of going about your day, going about whatever way you're going. And then it's like if the fog does come back in, like it doesn't really matter. It becomes one of those things that you can do in your sleep. You've established a new habit, so you can just like by habit, through virtue of having that habit, you can navigate to all of the places that you need to navigate because you were doing it when the fog was lifted. It's like a muscle memory type of thing. So either way, does it matter? Kirsty, how's everything going? This is the best part. This is EDM. I love EDM and EDM. You're Gigi. All good in the wood. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I am very glad to hear it. Excuse me, Gigi Kirsty. Were you talking about Leo? Vedic Leo? I think so. I don't know why. Maybe because you have cat in your username. Um, I just saw you as like my brain just went like Kirsty lion, and I was like, what, what? I was like Gigi Kirsty, and then my brain was like lion. I was like, okay, sure. Anyway, um, the baby smell. EDM is the best for dancing babies to sleep. I will put that in my shirt pocket for when I need it, if I ever need it. Um, Almost daylight. Oh my gosh. Thanks for being here, Matt. I also need to hit the sack. It's been like 2 hours. I hope you have an excellent night and that things continue to grow more and more beautiful for you. Um, yeah, I feel like maybe also with the fog of summer. Oof. I feel like this is a hedonistic heaven, a hedonist paradise. Maybe it's like being enraptured by desire to the point that you may not necessarily be aware of the obligations that you have, which would bring in sacrifice. But with Ul, it's almost like it's like when you can afford to be a little lackadaisical, when you can afford to let certain things slide. And like that's the Ul Al senses. Something about this heightened perspective is like I can choose to look at it from a perspective of blah 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 blah, which is fine, which is fair, which is an extremely valid perspective. But this is something that I need right now. I need a breath. I need a moment. I need some innocent fun. I need what I need right now, and I'm not going to shame myself for it. I'm not going to guilt myself for it. I'm not going to blame myself for it. I will make conscious choices and decisions, and I will navigate appropriately. And it's almost like if that's the approach that you take, then you can. It's almost like you can enjoy, like enjoying something responsibly. That's what it feels like. You can enjoy it responsibly. You don't have to be so extreme. What else? Just give me, because I guess the other one's got resin. I mean, it's nebula, it's fog, it's not, maybe that's just because it felt like the bridge of the sun transiting Taurus into Gemini was very foggy. I don't know enough atmospheric science to go, well, fog is just like really low clouds. And when the sun comes out, it evaporates all of the water molecules in the clouds so that, are in the fog so that, there's no fog. But that dry ice thing, maybe that's just the difference between sublimation and evaporation. Sublimation is a solid to a gas. Evaporation, the more traditional route, is liquid to a gas. And it feels like if you're dealing with an evaporation, heat would be helpful. If you're dealing with sublimation, it feels like heat would just cause more gas for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why my brain is seeing it that way. Okay. And we'll take this one. Oh. Sublimatio. Sublimation. No way. Oh my gosh. Imagine that. Let's read it. Bottom of the deck is Xanthosis, the yellowing, number 14. Oh, goodness. I was hoping it wouldn't be sublimation because, again, girl, there's a whole bunch of archetypes or alchemy that's still on the table. Hello? That's fine. This is number 67. LXVIII. Yeah, 67. No, I skipped over Sublimatio, elevation, rising, and flight. Sublimatio is the great alchemical operation of air. It occurs when there is enough heat to change a solid substance into a gas, causing it to rise up, up, and away. Therefore, when sublimation is present, there is an aspect of celebrated elevation, of ascending above and gaining a greater perspective. Birds in flight, mountain peaks, ladders, and balloons are all sublimatio images. As with all the operations, sublimatio has a shadow potential. Through ascension, there is a risk of separating from others, of sensing oneself higher or above. This risk is particularly great in spiritual traditions that offer a more linear model of achievement. The divine alchemist rises humbly and supports the upliftment of others, always in touch with the cycle of humanity. Service is the natural balancing agent for sublimatio. It may be the next rung on your ladder. Bum, 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 bum. To the sound speaker. They get 9 months old and already a tech whiz. Why are you asleep? Because it's only midnight in Cali. So yeah, maybe that just goes back to the balance. As things are happening and transpiring and clearing up, as you're getting clarity on anything that may have been unclear, it is also a season of clarity. But girl, it seems like on a lot of things, I guess. It's just clarity. Apparently, at least in this circle, it's a season of clarity. I've noticed. Again, I feel like I'm not hermiting, but I am. Well, um, it's just like balance, you know, to stay grounded, to stay connected, to not separate. There is a little bit of this. You might be like going from south node energy to north node energy, from the tail of the dragon to the head of the dragon. And it's just like, do your best to maintain that connection. One of my uncles was like, he'd lose his head if it wasn't attached. Well, in astrology, it's not attached. So be mindful to not lose your head, but also be mindful to not become detached from your body. So, the final rune, final rune. That's a lot of navigating. I mean, it's the fog. I can't see through it for you. I mean, if I can see through the fog, if our perspectives are different, it doesn't necessarily help you much, right? We all navigate in our own ways. Final rune, Lafruma. What say you to end this? It went on the floor. Bottom of the deck is win, bliss, and comfort. Love that. There's a lot of heat, there's a lot of fire, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of desire that's apparently all over the place as we're entering summer, as we're entering the time of Venus and Mars conjuncting in Leo, which is fixed fire, which means it's like the height of the summer. Here it is. It's number 32. I don't remember what 32 is. Towardness, the future. Oh, a comfortable future. It is your birthright after all. So maybe there's also this like allow things to be easy breezy, beautiful. Again, with that from the summer, it's like if you can afford to rest, rest. If you can afford to have some fun, have some fun. If you can afford to be a little negligent, I'm not saying be negligent, but it's like it's okay to take breaks. It's actually important for the soul, probably. It's good for the spirit to take a step away, you know? For people who be like, chocolate has no nutritional value. Yeah, but it's good for the soul. It's good to have some kind of enjoyment, a little bit of enjoyment every now and then, you know? Not everything necessarily has to be so deep or so profound because having pleasurable moments is plenty profound enough, especially in a world or in a time where it may, right? Well, Patrick is also the guy who skipped almost an entire semester of class because Siri told him to sleep in. And we're not even in Taurus season anymore. But we're under the influence still of the new moon in Taurus that just happened. But we just had a full moon Scorpio lunar eclipse that's going to be in effect for a while. And if it's a full moon Scorpio, that means that the sun was in Taurus. And the North Node is finishing its transit. Jupiter just entered Taurus. It's going to be an expansion of a lot of things. Enjoy it, but I don't know, be mindful. I don't know. Benevolent Guide, Spiritus Rector, number 57. Here's the card that came out. The bottom of the deck is Alchemical Wedding, Hieroskamos, number 60. Oh. If this is immediately here, like all things work together for your highest good. Even when you don't necessarily see it, even if you don't necessarily know how or why or when or where or who, there's a potential for things to work out better and better and better. So maybe that's another reason why it's okay to relax a little bit and to have a little fun, to be open rather than an energetic ball of inaccessibility. 57. Spiritus Rector. What was it? Excuse me. Yeah, Spiritus Rector. This is inner voice, guide, and ally. Oh, how easy it is to doubt the presence of the Spiritus Rector. The alchemist, falling into a moment of forgetfulness, feels alone in the laboratory and begins to doubt their work. Disarray and discontent follow. Who do I listen to? Where do I turn for guidance? All the while, the benevolent guide hovers close, waiting to be acknowledged, waiting to be heard amidst the noise of the world. It whispers words of kindness and encouragement into the ears of the alchemist. When this card appears, it asks us to recall the guidance we have received at important junctures in our life. That benevolent presence is constant, not conditional. Now is not the time for struggle or fear. Soften into the gentle humming of the wise bee. You cannot make a wrong choice when the Spiritus Rector is near. And you know what else is the Spiritus Rector? You know what bee I've seen recently? Well, keep on wondering because apparently I'm not going to be able to find it. It's literally, oh, here it is. It's literally right here. It's right there. This video isn't sponsored. Drink responsibly if you do partake. There's a bee on the Camelot mead. Kirsty, I found mead. I've been craving mead since I went to Holy Island last year, and I didn't get any mead the last time I was in the UK. And I was like, oh, I'll never get any mead. And then I looked up meaderies near me, and they were like, you got to travel for that. And then I was visiting my dad this weekend, and I was like, you know what? I'll search, and I found it in Meyer, and it's the only one they got. Camelot mead, but there's a bee with a crown on its head. And I just finished this bottle before. I mean, it wasn't much in there, but I did finish it before I went live. So I was like, I've just seen that. Where you? Where you? There you are. Oh yeah. Okay, I get it. Camelot. LOL. LOL. Camelot. LOL. The fog. LOL. Holy Island just rang in my mind. It is a little Mists of Avalon. Um, it's like a mirage, but it's real. It's like when you're in it, you'd recognize it as real, but from the outside, it looks like a mirage. So I don't know if it's like even better than you thought it would be. Maybe there's a land of eternal summer. Okay, so I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I thank you all so much for helping me to make poor life choices by not going to bed. And I hope that there is something in all of this for you. I will. I want to say I'll do my best to keep showing up as everything in my life changes. I mean, I guess, sure. I guess if I said it, I should actually try it, right? I don't know. Like I said, I got a little bit of time, but things are about to get real crazy. It seems like everything is picking up and happening, and it's my job to show up and to be receptive and to accept whatever cometh my way. Um, and yeah, so I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and way, you find in a way that is beneficial to you. I hope that when the time of summer comes, you can allow yourself to enjoy it or to enjoy responsibly or irresponsibly. I don't know. You make your own choices. And with that, I will catch you all whenever I see you next. Have a great night. Have a great morning. Have a great evening. Again, have a great whatever, whenever.